Breaking out of spirals of binge eating can be hard for so many reasons. So today we're going to talk about how to make it through your hardest moments. I'm going to tell you the truth about hard feelings and the skills that we're told to use to deal with them, what it takes to move through our most difficult moments, 2 obstacles that can mess that up for you, and the solution for those obstacles. So the reality of what it takes to move through these really difficult moments. You're standing in front of the fridge late at night, maybe going past a service station in your car, on your way home from work, tempted by the drive-thru, at home by yourself looking at the food delivery app. These moments can come up in so many different circumstances. And we could talk about skills like all day, like mindset skills, mindfulness skills, breathing and physical regulation skills. But if I create a video on that stuff, most people get about 15 or 30 seconds in and go, look, Marcus, we've heard all this before, you're being basic. Like, what's the real secret? And I'll be like, you got me. Here's the real deal. Which is kind of half true, because the skills are important, but there's something else that not everyone talks about. So the truth about hard feelings and skills. And that is that there are no skills powerful enough to make difficult feelings go away. I don't care how good your mindfulness skills are. Being able to label thinking traps, mindfulness skills, breathing techniques, none of these things make the hard feelings go away. They're tools that help us navigate the discomfort and stop us from spiraling further. Things that can actually make difficult feelings like go away usually involve a prick, a swallow, or a snort. And we don't need to cover where that road leads, right? So the truth about these skills that we're given to manage distress and manage hard moments, these are navigation tools. They don't make hard feelings go away. So what it actually takes when we're faced with some really hard moments and we want to take the kind of action that leads to change. What I'm about to say, again, you've heard before, but remember, we're not finished yet. This is not the whole story. So the first part of what it takes to move through difficult moments and create change is a willingness to lean into the necessary discomfort, while leaning on the necessary skills and practices to make these moments feel challenging and difficult, but not dangerous and overwhelming. But 2 things can mess this up. I know that somewhere along the line you would have been told, embrace discomfort, lean into discomfort, move through challenging moments. But, like I said, there are 2 things that make that more complicated than it sounds. And they fall into 2 broad categories. One could be called medical territory, and another could be called coaching and personal development territory. So the medical one first, unmanaged conditions like bipolar, chronic depression, insomnia, debilitating anxiety, or trauma, these things can really get in the way of our ability to navigate difficult moments. Now, they don't need to be cured and totally gone for us to make progress, but we do need to be managing them well enough. So if this is part of your experience, what's going to be really important is getting the right support, the right doctor, the right therapist. Remember, coaching is very much about skills and development, especially if you've done the years in therapy or you already have a therapist and you're looking for something to help you move forward. So as always, I just want to make that distinction between medical and therapy territory and coaching and personal development territory. So the second thing that can mess up our attempts to move through discomfort, this is very much coaching territory and it very much is within my wheelhouse. I help people with this all the time, is getting stuck in worst case scenario fears. This fear that if you change something, if you take different steps, if you do something different, you're going to end up in an even worse situation. Moving through moments of discomfort requires a lot of conviction. And if there are seeds of doubt being planted by worst case scenario fears, or the fear that if you change something or do something different, your situation isn't actually going to improve, it's going to get much worse, that can chip away at the conviction that we need to move through these difficult moments effectively. So here are 4 really common worst case scenario fears that often come up for people struggling with binge eating and body image. Number 1, if I stop the rigid or restrictive dieting that they say is causing my binge eating, I'm just going to start gaining uncontrollable amounts of weight. Number 2, if I'm no longer allowed to eat whatever I want, whenever I want, there's going to be nothing left for me. Food is the only thing in my life that I still have control over and that I can still give myself. So if I'm no longer allowed to eat whatever I want, whenever I want, I'll have nothing left to give myself. Number 3, constantly weighing and checking myself is the only way I'm maintaining control of my body. If I stop weighing myself, if I stop checking myself constantly, I'm going to lose control and gain crazy amounts of weight. And number 4, the feelings that I'm left alone with when I don't allow myself to binge eat are too big for me to handle. If I'm left alone with myself, with no relief or no distraction, no way to escape or numb these feelings, I'm going to collapse. So those are 4 really common worst case scenario fears that often come up for people struggling with binge eating and trying to make their way through these hard moments. Those fears, those concerns, those thoughts, those beliefs, when they come up, as we're trying to navigate a difficult moment, as we're trying to do good work, they can often sow just enough fear and doubt to make us dive off the path that we need to be on back into our binge eating cycle or our dietary restriction cycle that is perpetuating the binge eating. So here's a really essential thing to remember about moving through these difficult moments. If you are more afraid of an imagined worst case scenario than of the reality of where what you're doing is taking you, you won't be willing to endure the discomfort because you won't trust the process. No one is going to do something uncomfortable in the name of a result that they don't want. So if you believe in these worst case scenarios, if you're buying into these worst case scenarios rather than staying in touch with the reality of where what you're doing is actually taking you, it's going to be extremely difficult to maintain conviction while persisting with moving through these difficult moments and creating new experiences for yourself. And remember, what changes how we feel is creating those new experiences for ourselves. And that hinges on moving through the difficulty and the discomfort in doing something different. So how to deal with these obstacles, how to deal with it when these worst case scenarios and fears come up, how to maintain conviction and confidence that what we're actually doing, the effort that we're putting in to moving through this discomfort is actually getting us somewhere, like it's worth it. First thing is recognizing really clearly that a lot of the thoughts and beliefs that we attach ourselves to while experiencing these difficult moments or while navigating this journey are a product of stress and fear rather than an accurate assessment of reality. So thinking in worst case scenarios, all or nothing thinking, and hyper-focusing on our perceived flaws or things that we think we're getting wrong. These are really important to label as traps. Also, I've just released a podcast episode about how to feel good about yourself and how to feel confident, which is a really necessary part of this conversation because self-worth and confidence is an essential cornerstone of resilience. I'll put links to that podcast episode in the description of this video. So promise me that when you've finished watching this video, you'll go and check out that episode on self-worth and confidence. I promise it's a really important part of this big picture. Because if you're criticizing yourself all the time and living with a lot of conditional self-worth, like I'm only good enough if, that's not going to be doing you any favors. It's not going to be making life easier. It's not going to be making this journey easier. So set yourself up to win. Go check out this podcast episode. Link is in the description. But wait, we just got a bit more to cover here first. Another essential piece of being able to move through your hardest moments is being able to take a leap of faith and trust something new. It's hard, but ask yourself really honestly, how has what I've been doing been working out for me so far? Is this really the outcome I want? If we keep doing the same things, we're going to get similar outcomes. It's not easy, but there comes a point where if what we've been doing hasn't been working out for us, we need to take a little bit of a leap of faith and do something different. I remember a point in my own journey when I was in so much pain, physically, mentally, whatever, that I really did reach a point where I had to contact an old mentor of mine who was a couple of decades ahead of me. And I just said, dude, I'm ready to listen. Like, what do I need to do here? Because clearly what I'm doing is not working. So that leap of faith can be difficult. But if what we've been doing so far has led to outcomes that we're not happy with, we got to do something different. We can't do the same thing expecting a different result. And finally, making it through these tough moments will always be difficult, even when we're using well-practiced skills to help us find our way. But the belief that this work we're doing and the steps that we're taking and the challenge that we're facing actually means something is so important. It's so important to find a way to make that discomfort mean something to you, to allow yourself to be in that discomfort and feel proud in that moment that you're taking steps through it. We've got to make that discomfort mean something different. We've got to frame it differently. It's got to be a giant billboard on the side of your road that says you're doing the right thing. This is good. I know it's uncomfortable, but this means something, and it means something great. It means that you're on track. It means that you can be proud of yourself in this moment. If we're experiencing our worst moments, just covered in fear and awfulness and anxiety and stress, while hoping that maybe one day we'll get to feel a little bit better, that's not going to do it. We've got to find a way to feel good about it in the discomfort right now. Make it mean something to you. Because when it means something in the moment, when it's worth doing, that's when you'll reach for the skills and go, all right, it's worth practicing this right now. It's worth taking another step forward. Meaning and purpose and the belief that what you're doing is actually leading to a better situation, that is more powerful than any breathing technique or mindfulness skill. Don't get me wrong, those skills are really important when it comes to managing distress, but the meaning and purpose and belief has to come first. Otherwise, you won't engage with the skills when it really matters. So remember, if you allow yourself to be flooded by fear and doubt, it doesn't matter what skills you know. You'll drop your compass right when you need it most. So in these moments of difficulty, when you're challenging yourself, find some meaning and pride in that, in real time, in the present moment. Personally, I've been through a bunch of different phases of difficult times in my life, but I remember in 2019, my wife and I were going through a phase where our living situation was really difficult. Our jobs and our careers were in really difficult places. Our financial situation was difficult. We were trying to navigate all that together and find our way through. And the thing that really was the north arrow on my compass at that point in time was just make sure that you act in a way that allows you to go to bed at night simply proud of how you handled the day. And what that meant to me at that point in time, it wasn't that every day I was achieving incredible things. More often than not, it was like, I'm proud that today I didn't do something that was going to make a hard situation harder for myself. Sometimes that's all it needs to be. The steps you take need to resonate with you. How do you find meaning in these moments? How do you find purpose? So, quick summary. First of all, practice recognizing certain thoughts and certain beliefs as a product of your mind and body being really stressed, rather than an accurate representation of reality. All or nothing thinking, black and white thinking, hyper-focusing on flaws and mistakes, doom and gloom type stuff. That is a product of emotional dysregulation. It is not an accurate representation of your reality. Remember that. Secondly, ask yourself, am I really happy with the results of how I've been handling this and what I've been doing so far? Doing something completely different might be scary and it might take a little bit of a leap of faith, but has what I've been doing so far really worked out super well? You are probably going to reach a point where a leap of faith is necessary, and that is scary. But there are a whole lot of people that have walked this path ahead of you on the other side of the fence saying, hey, it's okay. We know it's scary, but it's better over here. Please come join us. Third, find a way to make moving through those moments of discomfort something that you can feel proud of in the moment. Make them mean something to you, because if they don't mean anything, you won't reach for the skills, because it won't be worth it to deal with the discomfort. This hard moment right now, this is an opportunity to do something I'm proud of. And don't delay being proud of it. Don't say, I'm gonna let myself be proud when all this is sorted out and I'm perfect. No, You've done something good right now, so be proud right now. You deserve it. And for the love of all that's sacred, remember this. Making all this work hinges on you having a steady rhythm of regular, nourishing meals. Strong, not starving. That name wasn't an accident. Don't set yourself up to be fighting your body and fighting physiology and fighting difficult feelings. Trying to fight physiology while thinking that we're fighting hard emotions or difficult feelings is a surefire way to set ourselves up for a lot of frustration and disappointment. Regular nourishing meals. Strong, not starving. And finally, remember to check out the latest podcast episode release on self-worth and confidence. Link will be in the description. Even if right now you're thinking, I don't want to listen to another motivational talk on self-worth and self-confidence, I mean it. This is important, and it's not a motivational speech. It's very practical. Go check it out. My name's Marcus. I've said strong, not starving enough. See you next time.